you got a question or a story to tell, from the smallest town to the big city belle, got a business dream you're hoping to start, or a question on elections and how to do your part. Now Bryan's here and he's ready to listen to the good people of Arkansas. The mission, he served the nation, now he's serving you for a stronger future and a vision that's new. Welcome to the Ready Room. Got a question? Let's talk it through. Welcome to the Ready Room, where your voice is heard and the people rule.
In every mission, there's a moment before the action begins. A place where warriors gather, gear up, and steel themselves for what's ahead. I'm Bryan Norris. Welcome to the Ready Room. You done? All right, team. Welcome back to the Ready Room. We got a fantastic show for you tonight. I am solo, plus I have my oldest daughter with me tonight, Layla Norris. Say hi, Layla.
Hi,
Tell them a little bit about yourself.
I'm Layla Norris. I'm 13. I do 4-H and I love animals.
And she loves animals. She's fantastic. You also volunteer, right, for animals and stuff like that to help out in the local.
I volunteer at
Off the Leash here in Batesville. All right, she's going to be taking the place of Jared for us tonight. So if you got some questions, you got anything you want me to hit on, go ahead and pop it in there. What I'm going to do tonight is we got a lot of news in Arkansas that has come up over the past couple of weeks, and we've been doing guests on the show for the past few weeks, so we haven't hit too much on the news. So what I want to do today is I definitely want to hit on some of the big pieces that's going up. And one of the things that's come up, it's near and dear to me, and it ticks me off quite a bit, is how the current Secretary of State handled the Veterans Memorial issue down at the Capitol. As you all know, when I've been out and about talking, one of my points is I wanted to move the Military Veterans Hall of Fame from the Treasury's department and put it in a more centralized location that would be easier access by everyone that visited the Capitol. I think that's important. I think it's important that Arkansas's citizens can go and see the monumental sacrifices that their sons and daughters have made, and see the great things that they have done and the recognition that they have been given by the state of Arkansas, and see that in pride and place, and have everyone, school trips, family members, everybody come and see the best of Arkansas and what they've done centrally located. Well, recently, they decided to move it out of the Treasury Department and they put it on the 4th floor. And in that process, some of the panels were destroyed, apparently. They're not there. I don't know whether they were destroyed, broken, lost. I don't know exactly what happened to them, but they're no longer there. That is very upsetting to me. And then to put it on the 4th floor, where hardly anybody ever goes to, when you got the Capitol surrounded by all these politicians that go all the way back to the founding, and that's great, they should be there and recognized, but without these people and the sacrifices and things they've done, they wouldn't have the ability to be sitting up on that wall. And this is the cavalier attitude that we're going to have on this memorial, on this phenomenal thing that we we established and set up and should have pride in place and should be prominently displayed, you're just going to whimsically move it up to the 4th floor where nobody ever goes, and you're going to lose or destroy parts of it on the way. So now the Arkansas taxpayer has to spend even more money to repair this monument because it was destroyed. And who knows how long that's going to be. We have the ceremony coming up for the next year's inductees for the Arkansas Military Hall of Fame. And we don't know if it's going to be repaired in time. We don't know if we're going to have a haphazard memorial display or what it's going to look like. So I hated to hear that. I think our veterans deserve better. I think we can do better, and we should do better. So on that, I'll get to some good news though. Here in Batesville, we have a fantastic American. He's a VSO. His name's Joshua Morrison. Joshua is the top of the top. I mean, the dude is phenomenal. He was awarded the first Citizens Award from our local county Republican Party that we gave out. We decided to honor him because this guy goes above and beyond, not just for the veterans in Independence County, but I believe he also does Izard County. I think he also does Sharp County. And I have personally, and I know other people have sent him veterans from around the world and other states across the United States. And he doesn't have to, but he takes the time to help them get the resources and the benefits and the help that they need. He's phenomenal at it. Well, if he couldn't do even any more, he decided to lean forward and build a Veterans Memorial here in Batesville that's going to be in a new Riverside Park that we got going on. And the architectural draw-ups of this memorial look amazing. I know he spent so much time and energy on it. And also, we have a local individual that's running for judge. I don't know exactly which judge she's running for, Kimberly Eddington. She did a lot for this as well with Josh. So I want to recognize both of them for going above and beyond to build this Veterans Memorial here in Batesville. And I also want to let everyone know out there that this is like a national monument. It's not just for Independence County. It's a national veterans monument. And if you are able to, and you're so inclined, you can go and you can call the Independence County VSO office, Veteran Service Office, and you can find out how to purchase a brick for $150. And you can put a veteran's name on there, their rank, their unit, and all that stuff. I know I'm going to. Josh, I'm sorry I haven't brought you my money yet. You told me about this a couple of weeks ago. I said I was going to get it to you. I'm going to get it to you very, very soon, I promise. And I would like anyone out there that wants to, for Veterans Day that's coming up, purchase a brick in their name and gift that to them for Veterans Day. What a fantastic gift to give a vet. I mean, look, I'm a vet. We love plaques. We love coins. We love displays. We love those things. So that'd be knocking it out of the park for a veteran that you care about, and they would appreciate it, and they would be memorialized in this memorial in perpetuity, and that would be absolutely fantastic. You'd support them, you'd recognize them, and you'd also support getting this monument completely done. This is going to be, from my understanding, it's going to be a financial neutral. It's not going to cost the taxpayers any money. It's all being self-funded, self-raised. So if you can support them, please support them. They would very much appreciate it. You can also go to Joshua Morrison's Facebook page. He has more information on there as well. All right, Layla, we had a question?
You just said 2 comments.
Okay. No questions? Yep. Okay. All right. So let me know when we got questions, Laylo. Okay? All right. Not just comments, but questions. So, all right, moving on. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through some of the events that's happened over the past few weeks in Arkansas and give you, one, what they are, and then also how the Secretary of State's office could potentially make that situation better, and how could we capitalize on it. Because no matter how good something is, it can always be a little bit better. I always strive for that. I'm never good enough. I'm always going to get better at something. And there's always a way to capitalize on something. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Sometimes you got to go a little bit unconventional, but there's always an opportunity to capitalize on something that's happening. And so I wanted to go through a few of these things that I think, if I was Secretary of State, how I would approach these events that are happening across the state. So the first one is, if you didn't know, Google is going to build a $4 billion data center in West Memphis. It's going to create hundreds of high-paying jobs for that area. And Entergy is going to supply the power through a brand new 600 megawatt solar farm and a 350 megawatt battery storage system. All right, batteries, we got lithium. Why aren't we manufacturing them? Why aren't we capitalizing all this in the state? From the mining of it, from the manufacturing of batteries, and to establishing it through Entergy here. So Entergy put in a $25 million community fund from Google, and it's going to support the local workforce and training and community development, all that. All that's great stuff. This is fantastic. But how could we make it better? I think the Secretary of State's office could make this better through the Business and Commercial Services Division. They could launch what's called a fast track program for businesses, entity formations, the LLC registrations, trademark application for companies in the data center's supply chain, such as AI startups, battery manufacturers, renewable tech firms. This would reduce the onboarding delays that these companies could potentially face for hundreds of expected jobs and suppliers, not just the jobs, but also the suppliers. This would address some very common complaints that I've gotten while I'm out and about throughout the state, that things say like the process is just too slow. And the Secretary of State's office, as you guys have heard me say, it needs to be a customer support facing organization. We got to support the customer, which is also our employer. So how do we capitalize? Well, we could integrate this into a statewide innovation hub, a branding campaign across the state, using Google as using the Google's project as the flagship, in annual economic reports and national trade shows, tracking and publicizing registered tech entities, anonymized for privacy, so we don't put information out there on anyone that doesn't want it. And this could attract some federal grants for digital infrastructure, positioning Arkansas as a low-friction alternative for high-regulation states like California. Trying to recruit some of those tech jobs from California, maybe relocating to our area. This could draw $500+ million in follow-on investments over 5 years through targeted outreach and Silicon Valley firms and people that's maybe looking to get out of the new Silicon Valley there in Austin. If you know anybody that's working in the Austin area and some of those businesses and stuff there, they are being choked by the traffic and infrastructure. They just grew so fast that they're not able to handle all the businesses that move there, all the people that's moved there. And some of the business, because of that, are looking to relocate. They're looking to relocate for the employers so their employers can have better housing, easier commute times to work. And so we could capitalize on that. Go out and solicit those businesses, attract them, let them know what we got going on. Hey, we got Google here already, got this massive data center. We're doing all this other stuff. Why don't you come check us out? You know, give us a shot. So that's one. Another one that just happened recently is Starbucks announced a lot of closures throughout the state of Arkansas, 4 to be exact. North Little Rock, Jacksonville, Jonesboro, and Paragould. Now, admittedly, not too upset that Starbucks is closing down. I'd like to see a lot more local coffee shops, a lot more local businesses take that up. But anytime that a business closes in the state of Arkansas, that's jobs being lost. And that's never good, right? So these are gonna, this is gonna leave multiple people throughout the state without a job, without employment. It also can create opportunities. So how can we make it better? So the state of Arkansas is going to be estimating to lose anywhere between 50 to 100 jobs via these closures of these 4 locations. So what we could do is we could expedite not-for-profit corporation filings for community-led buyouts or worker cooperatives repurposing these spaces, right? do whatever we can to get another business into those spaces as quickly as possible. We could waive the initial fees, provide a dedicated liaison and compliance officer to help them make sure that they've got all their ducks in a row before they take ownership of that facility, and empower locals to quickly pivot, avoiding vacant properties. I hate seeing the vacant main streets and other buildings throughout the state when I'm traveling around, and this could be a way that we could mitigate that as quickly as possible. So how do we capitalize on this one? Well, the Secretary of State's team could launch a local brew boost, right? This initiative could be a public database of newly registered Arkansas coffee roasters and cafes, updated quarterly via the office's business portal. This initiative could highlight local chains like Evers, Shadrack's, Muggs, Nova Joe's, all of those local establishments that we have throughout the state to fill this void and retain in-state consumer spending. Partnerships with the Arkansas Department of Tourism could also generate a little bit of buzz, get the name out there, go through the Chamber of Commerce's to get this advertising out there, create some social media presence on it. And we could brand these closures, all right? Rebrand this closure as a renaissance of hometown flavor, okay? Taking ownership of it, repurposing it, giving it new life, saying, you know what? This corporate coffee chain that's leaving, that's an opportunity for us to rebrand. And we're going to have a renaissance of hometown flavor. And so this would attract foodies that travel around. If you don't know who the Mighty Rib is, he travels around the state. He's got a huge following. Maybe link up with him, get him to go and do a couple little spots on it. And some other social media influencers throughout the state, get them talking about it and chiming on it. And real quickly, we could turn this thing around and get some movement going on to support these local establishments, fill these spaces up as quickly as possible, and just move forward and make progress and benefit you, benefit your community, benefit your neighbors, and that benefits everybody. So would love to see something like that. I think we could get anywhere between 20 to 30% right off the bat affected from these closures in very short turnaround, and then move forward within a year, 2 years, we're probably over 100% filling the void of what Starbucks did for us. All right. So another thing in the news, Boulevard Bread Company is going to open up a satellite location here in Arkansas. This is a local Little Rock staple. It opened its newest outpost September 29th inside the renovated Central Arkansas Library System. The smaller unit, Sunlit spot, features Boulevard's signature sourdough breads, pastries, sandwiches, and a full coffee bar with local roasts catering to library customers. Remote workers, tourists. The opening coincides with the library's $55 million revamp, transforming the 1920 era building into a modern hub with tech labs. This is phenomenal. My kids love libraries. I love libraries. And I specifically love a library that has a coffee bar and a patisserie. It's a great opportunity for me to get a book while my kids are looking around finding theirs, and I get to enjoy a good cup of coffee, catch up on a book, and you get lost in there and spend a few hours, and it's just a good time for everyone, and it makes the experience so much better. But how can we make it better? So the Secretary of State's office could offer free initial consultations and expedited reviews for branding expansions, right? Securing statewide protections for Boulevard's recipes and logos. This prevents copyrights and supports scaling of cultural sites like universities, cafes, and historic districts. So they could potentially move from just 1 or 2 libraries and maybe start hitting out some of these universities across the state and some of our smaller libraries that don't have this going on. That would be a phenomenal thing to see. So how do we capitalize on it? Well, the office could showcase Boulevard's success in its Made in Arkansas business showcase, right? An online registry and annual awards program for registered local enterprises linked to public spaces. The Secretary of State could use this to lobby for state incentives in the LEARNS Act, because the libraries are a part of that ecosystem. So we could lobby to get some of that to help with mirroring this out across the state. This could attract artisanal ventures to underutilize downtowns and generating $10-20 million in indirect tourism revenue through local shop campaigns synchronized with library events. Everybody wins. I win, you win, we all win. What do we got, Layla?
Could the SOS hire more internal computer people?
I absolutely don't see why we couldn't. Sometimes you got to adjust the books a little bit. Who'd that question come from? Okay, Donnie, thank you for your question. I don't see any reason why we couldn't. I'd have to get in there and look at the rows in the books and see what I would be able to move around and what I'd have control over. But as the chief executive of that office, I absolutely think that would be under my purview and something I'd want to do. Back to the bullet. And again, thank you for your question. If you got any more questions, please keep popping them in. Layla's going to give them to me. She's doing fantastic so far. Appreciate you, Layla. Okay, so the Boulevard Bread Company, that could be a fantastic starting point to revitalize a lot of local artisan bakeries. If you've ever traveled to Europe or South Korea, especially South Korea, I think it's the only place in Asia I went to that was like that. Those small mom and pop patisseries, bakeries, snack shops, goodie shops, cafes, they're everywhere. And they create such an awesome environment. They're so amazing to go to just have a meetup spot with your local friends, family. My favorite one that I like to go to is in Heber Springs. Can't think of the name of it right now. Do you remember the name of it, Layla? The one in Heber that I like to go to? It's on the main street there? No. If someone knows the name of that coffee shop that's in Heber Springs on Main Street, just post it in chat and she'll let me know. But I love that one. I love the setup of it. I like sitting in there. They got games for kids. They got things to do. They got comfortable seating. The coffee is phenomenal. They have an ice cream bar and all kinds of snacks and fat pills that I don't need, but I definitely love. So would love to see that revitalization, love to see that more throughout the state. Like to see that everywhere. I mean, and it doesn't need to be corporatized, right? I like differences. I want to try different new things. So when I go to a new town, I don't go to a staple place. I don't go to a chain place. I go and see the local flavor. I want to go where the locals go and enjoy it and have something different. I'd like to see a whole lot more of that and get those spots that bring the community together and facilitate and enable them and build community and build relationships with them. Okay, moving on to some other stuff. There was an education and arts investment at the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff. They received a record $5 million gift from the Wingate Foundation to build a new art and design tower. This is integrating the STEM arts stuff, STEM, if you guys know anything about that in the education side. And it's expected to open in 2027. And this is going to boost their infrastructure there quite a bit. And they also have rising enrollment in that location too. They're doing phenomenal things down there at that university. So how do we make this better? Well, the Business Services Division could expedite nonprofit and corporate filings for art tech startups, partnering with this university, waiving some fees for the first year, and providing a dedicated STEM arts accelerator. Potential for quick LLC formations to attract collaborators during construction. All right, that's how you can make it better. How do we capitalize on it? Launch a creative economy registry, showcasing registered arts education, ventures linked to these, like at University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, using it in a national pitch to foundations, example like the National Endowment for the Arts, to secure matching grants, potentially unlocking $10 to $20 million in additional funding, and elevating Arkansas's profile on the national stage. In interdisciplinary innovation and letting the world, and especially the nation, know and see who we are and the great and wonderful things we're doing, which I don't think we do enough of. We have a phenomenal state. We have amazing natural resources, and our greatest treasure and our greatest asset as people are unmatched. And we need to do a better job of showing that throughout the nation and around the world. Okay, on to some other news that I know you guys have probably heard about here recently, the federal shutdown. Well, let's talk about that and ripple effects, because there could be a diamond in the rough opportunity for someone, right? So the ongoing U.S. government shutdown has furloughed 248 Arkansans, especially state executive branch employees last week, primarily in agencies like the Department of Workforce Services. This is going to delay some services and exacerbating budget strains. It is what it is. We know it's the Schumer shutdown. We know it's the Democratic Party. We know all that. That's out of our control. How can we make it better? Well, we could activate emergency notary and filing waivers for furloughed workers starting micro businesses, processing these applications remotely within 24 hours to ease reentry and maintain service continuity and workforce development. Get the red tape out of the way, process them very quickly, get them doing something. How do we capitalize for the state? Well, we link this to a shutdown survival toolkit. And we do this on a campaign via the business portal, tracking new registrations to quantify federal economic resilience, attract Small Business Administration grants, SBA grants, and brand Arkansas as a nimble state for remote workforces, potentially adding hundreds of jobs in adaptive sectors. You never know what's out there. You know, sometimes when God closes a door, there's a window. But you gotta work for it. You gotta meet him halfway. You gotta do the work on your end, think outside the box, and come up with some creative solutions to mitigate that. Okay, moving on to another one. Energy. Energy is going to be huge over the next 5 years. AI is projected to consume 100% of the energy that the entirety of the United States electric grid produces. That's 100% in 5 years of what we're able to produce today. So energy is going to just become more and more and more of a topic. So we have surging data centers. We have EVs, electric vehicles. They're using more of this energy. So how do we make this better? We know we got the 2 gigawatt plant going up by 2030. That's been Arkansas Business Report. This includes incentives for battery storage to support the lithium accelerator. We have a lithium mine in this state. We have a lot of it. Let's capitalize on that. So how do we make it better? Streamline trademark and patent applications for energy startups and lithium batteries by establishing a green grid fast lane, right? To expedite reviews and safeguard innovations in battery storage and electric vehicle technology, thereby lowering barriers to scaling in response to rising demand. Here's another thing that you guys might not be aware of. Right now in the state of Arkansas, you cannot purchase a Tesla in this state. It's not because Tesla doesn't want to build a dealership. They actually do. But Arkansas law prohibits them from providing direct-to-consumer car sales in the state. So if you wanted to purchase a Tesla or a Rivian or one of the other EV manufacturers that's like that, you have to go, like I did, to Tennessee or Texas or to another state to pick up your vehicle. That's something that we could knock down as well so that we could mitigate that. And that's going to provide jobs too. Those businesses already want to come here. Let's clear the way for them, bring them in. That's going to build construction jobs. That's going to up our infrastructure, and that's going to provide steady long-term employment with a great reputable company that provides phenomenal pay and benefits. Okay, so how do we capitalize on the energy sector expansion? Create an Arkansas Energy Innovators Map. From registered entities showcasing it at national conferences to attract billions of dollars in venture capitalists and lobby the federal tax credits to expand the energy in this sector. We have the lithium. We're going to be manufacturing batteries from that lithium. Let's manufacture it in the state. Let's build those battery banks in the state. Let's capitalize on it every single way we can, all the way down the line. Vertical infrastructure, making money every single way down the line. Okay. Now, there's some legal battles, onto another one. There's some legal battles in the fuel industry. Recently went down to South Arkansas where we have a bunch of refineries. Spoke with a bunch of people down there, and not just there, but across the state. This is something that they've been experiencing. Specifically, North Little Rock's Colshan Oil was sued, claiming improper charges against its CEO in a fraud case. So this could impact fuel distribution throughout the state. All right, this one location could impact fuel distribution throughout the entirety of the state. So how do we make this one better? Well, the Securities Division could mandate enhanced compliance audits for fuel distributors after the litigation is complete, providing free webinars, simplified annual report templates, and to rebuild this trust, prevent supply chain disruptions. That's the biggest thing. We don't want this to have a negative impact on the citizenry across the state. With supply disruptions in the oil and gas community, you can see your prices at the pump go up unnecessarily. Let's get ahead of it. Stop that from happening. Stop that from becoming an issue. How do we capitalize on this? Well, we could publish an anonymized case studies for resolved filings in an industry integrity report to court ethical investors in biofuels and renewables. This could stabilize the fuel networks and increase the energy sector registrations, who knows, 10, 20, 30% maybe, if we target it through targeted recruitment. We could mitigate it. We could capitalize on it. So think outside the box. Maybe talk to your legislature about it, see what they're trying to do about that one. All right, moving on to another topic. Let's see, I got a comment in here. Layla, I can actually see them on here now too. We need more baseload electricity. Donnie Scroggin says we need more baseload electricity, natural gas, small nuclear. Legislative is researching nuclear, I believe. Yeah, that's a big push from the Trump administration. I'm a fan of nuclear. It's clean. It's phenomenal. It lasts forever. It is the cleanest form of energy that's out there, but it takes a long time to build. And the experts are saying that within 5 years, AI is going to consume 100%. Right? And I don't know. Maybe we could fast track it. I mean, it's not impossible. We know how to do it. We've done it before. So maybe we could fast track that and get a couple of nuclear sites set up. I know there's been a ton of innovations when it comes to small nuclear power banks, enough for communities. I believe Google was the first private company to start and establish a private nuclear facility for one of their data centers. I believe that was in Utah, out west somewhere. So we could definitely capitalize on that, go that route. I'm with you, Donnie. We definitely do. Natural gas as well. I use natural gas in my house. I'd like to see ample supply of that to keep coming. But on to another topic, retail and ag shifts. Commodity farming consolidation continues to drive rural outmigration. Arkansas Times did an analysis on this. I don't like Arkansas Times, but this was a pretty good article. While urban retail adapts, new pop-ups in Fayetteville targeting young professionals. So how do we make this better? Why don't we introduce something like a rural urban bridge? A filing incentive waives the fees for ag tech hybrids, provide mitigation toolkits for outmigrating farmers, to register urban ventures easily. You guys have seen this throughout. I know we've seen it in Europe a lot. You have these small, local community-based farm supplies that are in neighborhoods, in areas that grow produce, that do certain things, and they provide it right there to you. It's pretty cool what they got going on. And then you can get to know your farmer. You see where your groceries are coming from. You can buy it right there from them at a stand. It's not a bad gig. How do we capitalize on this? Well, we create a dynamic agri-retail network, a directory registered of businesses partnering with the USDA to reverse outmigration trends, create thousands of jobs, and market Arkansas as a farm-to-forum model for sustainable retail growth. Farm-to-forum model for sustainable retail growth. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I know my family wants to buy as much local as possible. We want to support our community. We want to support our local farmers. And I know a ton of people out there. And right now, farmers are struggling terribly. So maybe we could get ahead of that. Maybe we could provide them with another source of revenue and opening a window for them to grow through and get some financial capital that they so desperately need. So definitely something we could look into. Definitely something that would be a model for a lot of people to capitalize off of us. I want to get my produce and my meats as close to the source as possible, because I want to know what I'm eating. I want to know what my children are eating. I want to know that it's raised right, that it was harvested correctly, that there's not a whole bunch of junk into it, that it's not coming from some meat processing plant over in Asia or in South America, to where we have no visibility on what they did to that meat between their facilities and my stomach and my kid's stomach. It's something that we're very passionate about. It's something that we're going to support, and I would love to see more availability, more opportunities for us to purchase from local suppliers. All right. And we did have a guest on that was a local homesteader, Kara, a few episodes back. You can go watch that. She's doing phenomenal stuff, and she's doing it in a way to where she's making money off of it, but she didn't have to borrow any money. She didn't have to depend on other people. She grew at her level. She's made a sustainable business, and now she's becoming in a profitable area. And I think it's something that a lot of people could listen to and learn from her on. Go back and watch that episode with Kara. Look at what she did. It's fantastic. It was a great episode. She's a phenomenal grower. She's a phenomenal human being. Okay. And another one recently in the news. Wasn't a fan of this one. I mean, talk about missing the target. Talk about just blowing an opportunity. And I'm talking about the special election delay down in District 26 for the recently deceased Senator Gary Stubblefield. So Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Secretary of State on October 6th were seeking to advance the special election for the vacant Senate District 26 seat by 6 months. It's already overdue. And originally, I think they were going. I don't remember how far they were going to go out initially when they first published it, but it was way out there. It was way too far, and it's not right. You're denying those people representation, and you should never deny people representation. But specifically with all the things that we got going on down in Franklin County with the prison and other stuff, I mean, those people need a seat at the table. They need to be heard. Don't take that opportunity away from them. Allow them the representation that they deserve, that people have fought and died over. Secure that for them. Get it to them as quickly as possible. Let them have a seat at the table when these big decisions are going to be made. It's going to affect their life in ways that I don't want. So I hope that they come about. So how could the Secretary of State's office make this better? Well, I believe they could be proactive. They could amend election protocols via the administrative rule to enforce a stricter 90-day vacancy deadline. It's already there. Public dashboards for tracking special elections to enhance transparency and preempt constitutional challenges. Get ahead of it. And how do we capitalize on this one? Well, we frame the resolution as a statewide election efficiency initiative. Report this to secure bipartisan federal funding for voting abilities throughout the state, increasing voter turnout, and positioning Arkansas as a model for swift, fair, democratic processes, right? Because you're worth it. You deserve the absolute best election process that any human being could have. And you should accept nothing less. You guys know where I stand on that. I'm in full support of hand-marked and hand-counted paper ballots. I'm not a fan of a private company owning and running our elections, because that's effectively what's happening. And I'm definitely not a fan of the components inside of those machines being manufactured by Communist China. I'm not a fan of it. There's a fantastic book you can read on it. It's called Stolen Elections. Layla, will you hand me that blue book? I'll show it here for you real quick. Thank you, Layla. It's called Stolen Elections. It's a phenomenal book. It explains in detail some of the issues we have concerning our elections. I highly recommend it. But yeah, the people in District 26 deserve representation. I would encourage everyone, every single one of you, to go on social media and solicit your representatives to do something about this sooner rather than later. I would encourage you to call your elected officials and demand that they do something sooner rather than later, because no one should be denied representation. No one should have this put out so long. No one should be put on the back burner, treated as a second-class citizen, being ruled and not represented. You're worth it. You deserve more. Demand it. Because unless you do, nothing's going to change. It's up to us. All right. We also have another issue with House District 70. They're doing a primary push. So this is from the Democratic Party, where they unanimously voted on October 6th to hold a primary for the special election in House District 70. And this is vacant due to Representative Carolyn Brown's resignation. Setting a November 4th date and emphasizing voter access in this competitive swing district. All right. Pretty important race, guys. So how can we make this better? Expand early voting resources, which I'm actually a fan of single day voting, but that's not the situation in which we find ourselves. So make sure that we have them open and secure, and get candidates through these election divisions to ensure equitable access, all that, right? We could also partner with national parties a little bit more to attract, making sure that it's secure, that everyone knows what's going on. There's full transparency. People are watching it. Poll walkers are trained the way that they should be. And we've got everything safeguarding it and around it the way that it needs to be, so that people come out of that contested swing election, because it's going to be highly contested. It's going to be probably a lot of emotions going on. People's going to be fighting for it. It's going to be a very contested race. So put as many safeguards around as possible so that everybody walks away knowing that the right person won, that person was chosen by the people and they won, and they can walk away feeling confident in that. Okay. Now on to the subject again about the federal shutdown. But this time, how does it affect our National Guardsmen? So Arkansas National Guardsmen faced delay pay and canceled drills due to shutdown. Right now, it's only about 120 that seem to be affected. Governor Sanders did come out and criticize federal inaction over this, and tying it to the broader defense and funding debates going on throughout the state. Now, I'll put this note out to any vets that are out there that are currently serving in the National Guard or in the reserves. If you bank with USAA or Navy Federal, they will spot your paycheck. I don't know how far they will spot it out. I know it's at least a month, maybe two, maybe more. But if you're not banking with one of those institutions as a service member, you need to look at them, because in situations like this, that's phenomenal. They just deposit the money in your account, and then when you receive your back pay, they just deduct it back. No interest, easy peasy, right? So definitely look into that one. So how could the Secretary of State's office make this better? We could coordinate with the governor's office to fast track notary services for emergency financial filings, like hardship loans. There's all kinds of hardship loans that are available at no interest to service members. We could fast track that. And then we could archive and create a lessons learned repository over the shutdown impacts in our state records. And then we can build a rapid payback advocacy. So creating a lessons learned instead of just lessons identified, a knowledge hub, so that we can go back and review what was successful in the event that this happens again, because it's more than likely it's going to happen again. How do we capitalize on it? Well, we need to compile a resilient reserve. White paper, archive data, lobby in Congress for enhanced guard funding to create 200 plus training jobs, branding Arkansas as a defense-ready state to draw military contracts and federal installations to us. We could definitely use some more of that throughout the state. Right now, we have Little Rock Air Force Base, and I don't know if we have any other active duty base in the state. It would be nice to have a little bit more of that throughout the state and capitalize on some of that stuff and secure that for the communities that want it and could use it. Another thing in the news, going over to the health side, the Rural Health Portal launch. So if you didn't know this, Governor Sanders announced a new online portal for rural health proposals aiming to address provider shortages with $100 million in incentives. This is also part of the LEARNS Act extensions, but some Democrats in the state are obviously questioning the funding equity. So how do we make this better from the Secretary of State's point of view? Well, we integrate this portal with the SOS business tools for instant nonprofit registration of rural clinics, streamlining grant applications to cut red tape, and ensure equitable fund distribution across partisan lines. How do we capitalize on it? We track registered health entities in a Healthy Horizons dashboard, using metrics to apply for CMS matching funds, potentially doubling incentives to $200 million, and marketing Arkansas's portal nationality to attract medical tourism and biotech firms. That's an easy win in my estimation. I think we should definitely look at that, capitalize on that. And these rural communities, they need it. It's desperately needed. When you're out and about in the state in some of the Ozark areas or down in South or out in the west part or down the Delta, you can see it's desperately needed. So let's find a way to capitalize on it. Let's find a way to support these rural communities and everybody wins. All right, on to, that was the last one I have for all the issues that I've come across, that I've missed, that could be potentially a way to make better from the Secretary of State's office, and a way to capitalize. I don't think we do enough of that in the state. I think there's plenty of opportunities. I think there's plenty of outside the box things that we could do to make our state better, to create more employment, to get ahead of a lot of things. At the end of the day, we really need government to get out of the way, get rid of all this red tape, all the bureaucracy levels. You know, over 90% of the employment throughout the commercial sector in Arkansas is small businesses. So let's get out of their way, let them prosper. I mean, there's been so many small business people that's told me across the state, like, I desperately want to go to the next level for my business. I'm able to go to the next level for my business, but I don't want to deal with the headaches that it will take to go to the next level when it comes to the bureaucratic mess that it's going to involve. That should never be the case. The government should not be a hindrance. And we see far too much of that from government. They've forgotten what their role is. And they should realize what their role is, and that's to be a customer service support organization for the people, for their employers, for you. Don't burden them. Don't make it more difficult for us. You're supposed to enable us, not hinder us. So do the work that it takes to get out of our way, create a path for success, and just sit back as a legislative body in amazement of what we can accomplish. Our people are phenomenal. Our people are full of common sense, hard work ethics, good morals, outstanding character. They're going to do the right thing. And if they don't, there's laws to protect them, hold them accountable. But don't create unnecessary burdens that keep employment and food off the table of everyday Arkansans, just so that you can sit back and say that you created a new law or you created a new process. So I would like to see a whole lot more of that. I definitely know that's going to be a priority for me when I do things. But I want to know what's a priority to you. I want to know what you think the Secretary of State's office can do for you. Please send me an email at norrisforarkansas@gmail.com. Reach out to me on Facebook, on X, on YouTube. You can go to our website, bryannorris.org. It's also on your screen in front of you. And guys, I want to be honest with you. If you're able to financially support me, please do so. I can't do this without you. I couldn't fight for you overseas without the combat services and support and the funding that you provided back here on the home front. And I can't fight this fight that I'm fighting for you without your continued support. It's not possible. I'm one guy. And I'm wanting to work for you. So if you're able to make a financial contribution to support this effort, to support what we're doing, please consider it. Please share this with your friends. Share my ideas. Help me create some name ID. Get that out there to people that you know and encourage them to look me up. Like I always say when I go out and I'm out and about, I'm trying to earn your votes. I'm not just asking you to give it to me. And whatever it takes to earn your vote, call me, text me, email me, message me. Ask me any question that you want to. We'll come up with an answer. We'll have a dialogue about it. I'm not going to shy away from you. I'm not going to walk away at the end of a question not answering you and just tell you I'll see you later. I'm going to respect you. I'm going to do the work. But I need your help. I need your support. So if you're able, please look into it. Please consider it. Pray about it. And also please share this out with your family and friends. Let them know who I am. I've got shirts. I've got hats. I've got signs. If you'd like to purchase one of those, just send me a message. I'll get one out to you. And I appreciate everything you guys do. I appreciate all the support you've given me so far. And if you're able to continue that, I absolutely appreciate it and look forward to it. Tomorrow at lunch, I'm going to be at a luncheon in Little Rock for the Pulaski County Republican Women's there at the Country Club in Pulaski County. If you're able to come, it starts at 11. All three of the candidates for Secretary of State are going to be there. And then tomorrow evening, I'm going to be in Craighead County at the Craighead County Republican Women's Conference. It's at Fazolo's Pizzeria there in Jonesboro, Arkansas. So if you're able to make that one, come on out. If you have any questions, please ask me. You guys know if I've been to your area yet. I try to be the first person there, but I will definitely be the last person to leave. I will stay until every single person that wants to ask me a question or talk with me has the opportunity to do so. And then I make the drive back home. So look forward to seeing you guys out there. Again, keep me in your prayers, most important. And if you can support me, do so. And with that, we're going to sign off and we'll see you next week in the Ready Room. Thanks, team.